In this video, I'm going to show you what very well may be the ultimate EDC or everyday carry combo. This combination is one that I'm using and one that I think everybody should at least consider, as it's able to take care of a lot of the tasks or jobs that just pop up on you when you don't have your tools around. And I also think it does a much better job than what I used to be carrying, which is this multi-tool right here. So let's go ahead and jump right in. All right, so most people, when they think of a tool that they want to carry on them that can handle a variety of jobs, a lot of people just automatically go to one of these. Now, this particular one is very well known. This is made by Leatherman. I've used this tool for quite a while and it has served me very well. But of course, it has a lot of features in it that a lot of people want in a multi-tool. One of the biggest draws and features of these are the pliers that come on all these Leathermans. And then of course, they always include a knife on them. Usually also some sort of a saw blade. We also get a file, a serrated blade, a bottle opener, and then over here is kind of a makeshift slotted screwdriver or flathead, and also a Phillips head. And while it can offer all of those things and a lot of those features, I don't really think that it does it super well. They're just kind of there in the case that you absolutely need something. For instance, if you look here at the Phillips head, on this side it looks like it's a standard Phillips head, but if we flip it up to the top, this is very narrow. So this isn't exactly going to do a great job if you really need to unscrew a Phillips head. It's just going to be there if you're in a pinch and don't have any other tools with you. This video is more about what I have just found to work even better, takes up less space, and also weighs quite a bit less. And the everyday carry combination that I've personally been going with, and what I have found to work extremely well, is a combination of using these Knipex slip joint pliers, and we'll get into more of the features on this because it has quite a few of them. So these in combination with one of these utility knives here. These all come with some slightly different features, but a lot of the main features are the same. Klein has what they're calling their flickable utility knives, and Milwaukee has their fastbacks. And they all come in a bunch of different variations. So the ones I'm carrying in combination with these Knipex pliers are these two right here. These are both fantastic utility knives that you really can't go wrong with either one. They offer a lot of the same features, but they also have some of their own features that separate them from each other as well. So again, I really like both of them, but for the purpose of this video, we'll just go with the Milwaukee fastback in combination with the Knipex pliers. One of the main selling points of this is how quickly you can deploy the blade, and that's just by depressing this button right here and giving a real quick flick of the wrist. As you can see, it's very easy to flick out. You can flick it back in. So of course, just like any other utility knife, you've got your blade here. When I do wear a blade down, a lot of times I'm replacing it with another Milwaukee blade, and that can be easily done by flipping it over here to the side. There's a little button right here that you depress, and once you depress it, the blade will come out. And since these blades have two different sides, once this side wears out, you can just flip it over and then just reinsert it back into the fastback. It'll lock into place, and now you're ready to go with a fresh blade. Now, while I still have the blade open, if we look in the handle here on the inside, there's a little clip right there where you can store extra blades. And it's pretty easy to retrieve them. I'll just push the clip inwards, flip it back, and as you can see, that blade's starting to want to come out. And I can then just retrieve that blade and put it into the knife. Another feature that is on this is this little cutout right here. This is another place where the blade is exposed. This is what they're calling a wire stripper. And it's just as easy as taking some wire, putting it up into that little slot there, and then just going around the wire. And then once you got the insulation on that wire scored up and stripped all the way around, you can then just keep it in that notch and just flick it off, and it will pull the insulation right off, and now you have a very cleanly stripped wire. So certainly not advocating for this to replace wire strippers, but it's there in a pinch. All right, so now let's flip that closed. But now let's turn our attention to the top or the back of the handle here, and when we flip this out, we've got a flip out screwdriver. So by default, it's gonna come with the Phillips head installed here. If you don't need a Phillips head and say you need a slotted screwdriver or flat-headed screwdriver, you can just pull this bit out, just flip it over and push it back into that slot. And now you're ready to go if the job is calling for a slotted screwdriver. Now, in order to close this up, we just have to go inside here, and then with our thumb, just push this little metal piece here out of the way, and now this will release. And as I'm pulling it down, it will want to stop right there. Now, it's not locked. Obviously, I can still move it without depressing that metal. But this is also a really great feature on this in that if you have something that's really tightened down and you need that extra leverage, Well, it's a lot easier to then have it in this position, put it down on the screw, and now you have all this extra leverage to be able to either push or pull depending on which direction you need to go. And that just adds a whole lot more leverage than when it's up in the up position and you just have it this way. And for this next feature on this, I consider this more of a throw-in. You got a bottle opener up here at the top, and it actually does a really good job of taking those caps right off. This particular knife is right at 4 3/8 inches long, and at its widest point, it's 1.5 inches. If we flip it up over here to the top, if we measure the width of it, it measures at just over 1/2 inch. And as you can see, the Klein flickable utility knife is very similar in size. But while the Milwaukee Fastback and the Klein flickable offer a ton of the tools that are offered in this Leatherman, there is one key feature that the Milwaukee and the Klein do not have that pretty much everyone wants in a Leatherman, and that is the pliers. But that's why I carry this, because it offers some of the tools in a much better way than the Leatherman does. But then I also carry it in conjunction with these Knipex pliers here. So one of the things I really love about these Knipex pliers is they are incredibly lightweight. As you can see, it easily fits in the palm of my hand. Now, unlike a lot of your standard slip joint pliers, where when you're adjusting these jaws to fit on whatever bolt or nut that you're trying to get it on, you have to a lot of times pull the handles apart to then adjust it up and down. And while that is the case for adjusting it down, you can set it at a larger size than the nut you're trying to remove. And then once you get the nut in between the jaws, all you have to do is push up on the other handle and it ratchets up and locks into place firmly around whatever it is that you're trying to loosen or tighten. So that's a really cool and quick feature that's also ensuring that we're getting as much grip as possible on whatever it is that we're working on. And if we look up here closely at the jaws, as you can see, there are angled teeth on there. But with these angled teeth pointing in opposite directions, what that means is you're going to want to always be pulling this towards you. If you push it away, those teeth are not going to bite. But as long as you're pulling the pliers towards you, those teeth are always going to bite into whatever it is that you're removing or installing, and ensure an extremely strong grip on them so that you don't find these just slipping off of whatever it is you're working on. But now I'm going to show you some real world examples of this, as it's really going to highlight and show you why these features are so important. All right, so here is going to be one really good use case for showing you how these work, and then also comparing them to the Leatherman and how good they are at removing bolts and nuts like this right here. So for instance, if we take our Leatherman and say we want to remove this bolt right here, we wanted to be able to get that bolt head a little bit further down into these jaws. But as you can see, due to the needle nose, I can't get it down any further. So if we go ahead and try and remove this bolt, I cannot get it to grip onto that bolt, and I'm just not able to get it to move at all. So now I'm going to take my Knipex pliers, and these are more made for this job. So in order to use these, you can of course have the jaws all the way out like so, get them wrapped around the bolt, and then if you just want to tighten them up, you just push up, it ratchets into place. I'm just going to start turning it counterclockwise, and as you can see, I'm able to easily turn that bolt now, where I wasn't able to turn it at all with the Leathermans. But let's say we needed to tighten this down. Let's go ahead and take the Leatherman again, put that back on that bolt, and start spinning it. Now because it's so loose, I'm not really having too big of an issue in spinning that bolt and tightening it down. And that's about as tight as I'm going to be able to get it with these needle nose. So now I'm going to take my Knipex, I'm going to do the same thing, except for now I'm going to put it over here to the right because I want those teeth to dig in this way, get a grip on the handles, and look how much more I'm able to tighten that down over the Leatherman. As you put force on it, it continues to maintain that grip on whatever it is that you're tightening. So I'm not even having to hold on to that, I just have to push against it. And I can just keep doing this until it can't get any tighter. And that's about as tight as that bolt is going to get. All right, well in this example, we have free rein. I can easily get those on there. So let's see how well it performs being able to fully get that bolt up into the portion of the jaws where we're going to have the best bet in being able to loosen it up. So far, I'm not really having a whole lot of luck in doing this. The Leatherman is turning, but that's because it's slipping on the head of that bolt. And at this point, I'm just shaving metal off of the bolt head. But now let's take the Knipex, and look how easy that is. I am very easily able to just loosen that bolt up without any issue whatsoever. I'm not even having to focus on making sure that the jaws are going onto the flat areas of the bolt. So the only place where I could see maybe these are an advantage is if you need to get in somewhere that's super narrow and you need the added reach of the needle nose. I could see in some applications where maybe these would work a little bit better, but I still think these would probably be able to take on a lot of those jobs as well, just because of how narrow it is. But for me, between the two, as far as the majority of use cases, it's a no-brainer to me that the Knipex work a whole lot better than the needle nose on the Leatherman. But again, this is not a dig on the Leathermans or tools like this. They certainly have a purpose. They are capable of a lot of functions. But to me, when you take into account the storage size, the weight, and not just the features that both of these have to offer, but how well they perform when using those features, that's why I think that right now anyways, this is one of the ultimate combinations when it comes to an everyday carry, because again, when you break down the features of each one of these, they outperform the Leatherman in just about every single category. So obviously, I highly recommend this combination here with the Knipex and either the Milwaukee Fastback or also Klein's Flickable utility blade. Again, I feel like you really can't go wrong between either one of them. And for those of you that are interested in the knife that I showed a couple of times in this video, I call this my Sunday knife. It is made by Kershaw. They make excellent products. It's got a fantastic blade on it, easy to open up. And this is what I actually carried every day when I was a police officer. So if you're looking for a really great knife that is just that, it's just a knife and doesn't have any of the added functions of the other things, this is a fantastic option. So, like always, I will have links for everything you see here and everything you saw in the video. I'll have links for it all down in the description down below. When you click on those links, it'll take you directly to whatever you clicked on, so you can check all of these out for yourself. Now, if you found value in this video, then you'll definitely find value in some videos that I did in the past, where I go over some things that DIYers and homeowners aren't fully aware of, but they probably should be. I'll post a link to those videos right over here. If you're interested in them, all you have to do is click on them and it'll take you directly to them. So I hope that you found value in this and you found it to be interesting. And if you did, if you could do me a huge favor, hit that thumbs up button right down below. And of course, if you have any questions or comments still, you can leave those down in the comment section. And I'll catch you all in the next one. See ya.